first question, Chris Gardner.
Coach, as you know, this is the first matchup against the Bucks this season. In preparing for them, does this year's Bucks team look any different than previous seasons?
I mean, they're still really good, and Giannis is still MVP caliber. I would say the difference is probably Jrue Holiday. I mean, his ability to put pressure on the defense, put pressure on the offense with his ball pressure, his shot making, his downhill play, his ability to kind of do the little things. He's made quite a difference for that team. So in preparing for the team, it's a lot of times been Giannis and Middleton, and now you add Holiday to the mix, and it makes it a little bit harder.
Thank you.
Jonathan Fagan.
These last 10 games are all against teams with winning records, all presumably with something to play for in the remainder of the regular season. For a team that's just seeking to grow, to learn from these experiences, is there anything in particular that comes from playing these sort of games?
Yeah, I mean, there is the preparation for these games and the things that you have to do, like the great player defense and the adjustments that you have to make, and our ability to listen, learn, and apply in these situations. And the fact that we have to go out and play a very, very good game against a good team is something that we need down the stretch of these games. These are obviously meaningful games for the teams that we're playing, and they're meaningful for us, as you've kind of said, because we're trying to learn and grow and take every single opportunity that we have to get better. So who better to get better against than the really good teams? And we're going to see them for the next 10 games, and we're going to have to, play well.
Thank you.
Ali Kambajani.
Hey, Stephen, yesterday during practice, you talked about Christian's growth and how comfortable he's become in his role. I wanted to ask you about his passing ability now, especially without John. In that first game against Minnesota, how did he look to you as a passer, and how has he grown as a passer throughout the season?
Yeah, he's definitely grown as a passer. I think he had 5 assists in that game, and he's taking what the defense gives him. And defenses are changing a little bit. They're not allowing him to kind of just play. They're taking certain things away. And when they take those things away, whether it's playing him with a smaller guy, whether it's giving more attention to his drives, whether it's as he rolls into the paint, not allowing him to roll all the way to the rim, he's making the right plays and making passes out to his teammates. So that is definitely a step forward for him, because earlier in the season, he didn't necessarily have to make plays as much because he wasn't getting the attention that he's getting now. So that's definitely a testament to the work that he's done, the improvement that he's gained over this season. And, I'm sure we'll see more and more of that as the time goes along.
Thank you.
Adam Spalding.
Stephen, a few weeks ago, he brought up Jokic and talked about how he would like to be able to get to that level just as a passer. I don't think that's probably possible for probably anybody, but the fact that he's thinking along those lines, does that show you just some of the growth and I guess his approach to the game?
For sure. That's a really good point. And yeah, he has grown in a lot of ways. And for him to be thinking about passing, which is helping his teammates play better, is good for our group and good for him. And I think I might have mentioned this a couple of days ago about him kind of thinking outside of himself and really being conscious of how those around him can play better when he's on the floor. So yeah, for him to think in a Jokic type way, who is the ultimate guy who can make his teammates play better, that's definitely good and something that we can kind of grab onto and focus on, especially as we finish the season and then get into this summer as far as what are the things that we need to address, improve on, and et cetera.
Eric Name.
Hey, Stephen. Eric Name from The Athletic here in Milwaukee. With the Bucks this year, offensively, they put someone in the dunker at all times. And, I mean, coaches putting guys in the short corner or having guys work the dunker isn't something necessarily new to the league. It isn't, some grand innovation. But I'm just curious for you, what has that done to change the way their offense looks to you on film when you take a look at them?
Yeah, it is different because you're definitely used to them playing more 5 out and spreading you out a little bit more. And with that dunker person, and they don't always do it with a big. It used to be, it would always just be like you'd be isolating the 3-man on one side and the 5-man would be in the dunker. You'd be isolating your best scorer on one side and a bigger guy would be in the dunker. And they do it differently, and it makes it hard because you have maybe Holiday in the dunker and the person who's helping on Giannis or Middleton is a point guard, and now you're syncing with a bigger guy and you're rotating to a 5-man. So it definitely changes things, and it's definitely a different look than what they've had before, but they're still very much able to play to their strengths, which are Giannis and Middleton, and then their shooting ability, adding Holiday and the rest of the guys that they have who can really shoot the basketball.
Do you feel like it's strange for like a point guard to think about rim protection, or because essentially that's kind of what you have to do? Like if Holiday's in the dunker.
Yeah, it is, and he's good down there. It's not like he's just gonna stand down there and allow you to just go help and whatnot. Like as the ball is driven to the middle, he's circling underneath and getting little layups, or as he hits and he's cutting through, sometimes his defender gets nervous and just double teams off him and he gets those quick little layups. So yeah, it's a different spot for most point guards to be in that area. And I think maybe when I first started, Baron Davis would have been pretty good at helping and that sort of thing from the dunker. But these younger guys who've never had to deal with the dunker before, it's a little bit of a foreign concept to them.
Thank you.
Jonathan Fagan.
With Daniel.
Sorry, I don't know what
there we go. Daniel going back out again. He's come back a couple times, gone out a couple times. Is this a case where he might have to sit for a little while to totally get over the ankle, or is it just sort of on that edge between being able to play and not?
That's a really good question that I don't have an answer for. It is kind of on that line of just good enough to get on the court, but not good enough to finish or play, the minutes that he needs to play. So maybe the answer is to just have it heal 100% so he can come back and be healthy on the floor. But he doesn't want to do that. Like, he wants to get it just good enough so he can play. And that's a conversation for House, myself, and the performance team, and to figure out what's the best avenue, because he was trying today to see if it felt okay so he could play tonight, and that's a great guy to have on your team who wants to fight through that. But at the same time, you also want to be, attentive to his well-being as a player and as a person and all of those things. So it's kind of a we'll see.
So that means tonight makes 37 lineups, starting lineups. And, we've gotten used to that. It's one more than what it was last game. But when I say that, does it hit you as if you haven't talked about this over and over, that, my gosh, that's 37 lineups already. That's more than a different lineup every other game by average.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, so I guess I was a part of the team that had the most starting lineups in a season. Sean, I forget what he told me it was, but it was the 2008, 07, 08 Warriors. And do you remember how many it was? 47, something like that. 47.
49, I think. Yeah.
49 starting lineup. So I was on that staff at that time as well. So maybe it's just me. I don't know. But it's crazy to have over half your games with a new starting lineup. And it's hard to win that way. It's hard to build that way. It's hard to have any kind of cohesion on both ends of the floor. It's just a hard thing, and it really hasn't been much more than just injuries and COVID and all of the other trades and all of that. So I guess that's a lot, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard coming up with a new lineup from night to night and wondering who's going to be in the lineup and who's not, and kind of game planning around that is, you know, it's always better when you know what you're going to have.
I guess the 72 game equivalent then would be about 43. You're not going to get up to 43, are you?
What do we have, 10 games left? No, I don't think so. I hope not.
Armani start tonight?
No.
Does Armani start tonight?
Most likely, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.